What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be going over Riot's new State of the Game article. Now, Riot dropped this earlier. Today we're going to be covering most of it. If you would like to read this article yourself, though, the link is down in the description. Now, what a state of the game is if you don't know, basically the developer is stopping and looking at the game and saying, here's what's working, here's what's not working, and here's what we're going to be doing about it very soon. In other words, this is Riot officially checking in with the community to talk about how the game's doing, where it's heading, and to answer some of the biggest questions that players have so far. So it starts off with two of the Riftbound leads, Chengren Chai, the executive producer, and Dave Guskin, the game director. First, they talked about their overall philosophy for Riftbound, with Chengren explaining that Riftbound is made up of card game players first, people who care about both the strategic depth and the social side of TCGs. Their goal is to make Riftbound a game that's deeply strategic, but also interactive and social. Dave then adds they're trying to make a TCG that works for everyone, which are competitive players who love mastering 1v1 play, casual players who enjoy kitchen table games with friends, and everyone in between. He also admitted the game isn't perfect yet, but stressed that the most important thing for the team is listening to player feedback and shaping Riftbound's future around it. Dave points out that across the first two sets, Origins and Spirit Forge, there are already a lot of interesting decks for both competitive and casual play. The resource system and the flow of battles are resonating with both TCG players and League fans. And despite some availability issues, real communities are already forming, such as weekly local events like Nexus Nights, and even high-level competitive play with the first regional qualifiers. Chengren still acknowledged that there's still work to do, especially when it comes to getting more products into players' hands, improving ordering on Riot merch, and making event registration smoother. And then lastly, Dave backs it up by saying there's room to improve the competitive metagame by giving more legends a chance to be top tier. Alright, now for the community Q&A. They got tons of questions, so I'm going to break this down as clear and concise as possible in what Riot actually told us. Chengren starts by saying every Riftbound set has exciting new content, but then he very clearly highlights two future sets. First is set 3 Unleashed. He says there's something really special here, which this is actually pretty notable because that would just suggest Unleash isn't just more cards, it's likely introducing new mechanics, themes, or play patterns that meaningfully change how Riftbound feels. Then he mentions Radiance, which is set 5, saying the team really cooked. This is actually pretty big because set 5 is far enough out that it shows long-term confidence. This isn't a game being figured out one set at a time, Riftbound is being designed years ahead. Now for Vendetta, which is set 4, they tease something very concrete. For the first time ever, Riftbound will have legends for all these three color pairs, the pairings being green and red, blue and orange, and purple and yellow. This is honestly insane because it just means more viable archetypes, more color identity support, and fewer dead combinations. Some what ifs for the domains have actually happened now. Like, imagine the buffs, counters, and board manipulation and aggression you'll have with green and red. Don't forget Zonia's Hourglass and Guardian Angel for the protection. And then imagine who you can be even putting that on. Not even just Aurelia Fervent, but you can put that on Darius, you can put that on Kai'Sa. And you can also stop a lot of spells from now because now you have Defy, Wind Wall, and just other spells that could just buff them. And don't even forget Aurelia Fervent. That can probably be played in that deck too, but we're just speculating. And purple and yellow having so much removal and disruption with card draw, may I remind you? And then when you have orange, the aggressive brawler strategy, the heavy ramp, and maintaining board presence with high might units in combination with control, value generation, and spell-based combos for the blue. And we still haven't even included the cards in that set yet, so ponder on that for a little bit. Then they also go by showing Radiance's key art, which feature Echo and Seraphine. I wonder what colors Echo and Seraphine are going to get. I'm pretty sure I could say for Echo, he's definitely going to be getting blue because we already have a champion unit for him. And the reason I want to say purple is only because you have Called Shot and all that stuff. Basically the pictures of just him, but who knows, he may be a different color. Now for Seraphine, I don't really know. Honestly, I just can't wait to see what happens, what they do in that set. The next question is, are you concerned about the metagame being solved too quickly? Dave answers by acknowledging that players are extremely good at breaking games. When thousands of smart players test decks non-stop, they will find optimal strategies faster than internal playtesting ever could. And importantly, he's not worried about that. What honestly would concern him is players stop experimenting and decks stop evolving, or the best deck has no meaningful counterplay. He then addresses the elephant in the room, which is Draven, which if you don't know, this man has been showing up in regionals at an abundant rate. I'm pretty sure at one point there was 147. But anyways, Dave compares Draven's dominance to what happened with Kai'Sa and Master Yi in Origins. At the time, those decks felt unbeatable, but players adapted, refined answers, and the meta continued to evolve. Right now, the devs do believe that Draven does have weaknesses. Certain strategies are underexplored, especially decks that don't rely on winning combat the same way purple decks do. Now for the next question, this is how will Riftbound handle bans? This was one of the most detailed answers and honestly one of the strongest. Dave makes it clear that bans are a last resort. They only consider intervention if Riftbound enters what they call an emergency state. And they measure that using 4 metrics, which for one is event attendance if people stop showing up. Number 2 is the negative player sentiment because community frustration can kill interest even faster than bad balance. Number 3 was game breaking combos if oppressive gameplay becomes common, not just strong. And then lastly, number 4, archetype dominance over time, which is if the same decks dominate across multiple sets. Only when one or more of these become severe do they discuss action, and those actions are card bans or very limited restrictions. The actions that are off the table for balance is no power level errata and no rule changes to nerf decks. They also go by saying rules in errata are for clarity and completeness, not balance. They also stress communication. Players will know bans are being considered, and they'll avoid banning cards right before major events when possible. And this is good because this tells us that Riot wants to maintain integrity and stability. The next question is Riftbound feels complex, how are you simplifying it? Now, Dave acknowledges the truth, all TCGs are getting more complex over time, and that's just unavoidable. So instead of trying to stop complexity, they're managing it by using 3 main tools, which is 1, reusing mechanics. Instead of constantly introducing keywords, they reuse existing ones that lowers the learning curve and gives veteran players a deeper mastery. Number 2 being beginner-friendly legends. Every set is going to be aiming to include 1 to 3 legends that are straightforward, intuitive, and easy to build around. And these will also act as on-ramps for new and casual players. Number 3 will be entry products. Products like Proving Grounds, pre-made decks, and sealed formats exist to make starting Riftbound less intimidating. They also address errata directly. Early errata is part of launching a brand new game, but they expect less errata over time, not more. And what this tells us is that Riftbound isn't ignoring new players, they're designing it for them while still expanding depth. Next question is what are you doing about availability and prices? They're actively working with UVS and Shining Soul to increase supply, reprint Origins and Proving Grounds, and adjust print volume as demand grows. It then also emphasizes something really important, which are they want Riftbound to be worth the player's time and the player's money. And then explains their vision of a healthy game is simple. Everyone who wants to play should be able to play. Now the next question is when are more languages coming? Now after adding French, which Chandran does confirm, traditional Chinese cards are coming later this year. But then he explains why implementing languages into Riftbound will take time. They need distribution, store access, and regional event support. So languages are still coming, it's just global growth is being planned carefully and it's not being rushed. Next question is why reuse art? When do we get to see original art? Karen goes by saying reused art from Legends Runeterra helped Riftbound launch faster, maintain high art quality early, but going forward, every set will have more original Riftbound art, and the proportion of the original art will continue to increase. In other words, Riftbound is building its own visual identity, it just didn't want to delay the game to do it. Which by all means, I have no issue with it. The game looks amazing, the game plays amazing, it's very fun. The art looks beautiful, and I can't wait to see more of it in the next upcoming sets. Next question is what about multiplayer? Dave confirms multiplayer is a core strength of Riftbound. The plans include multiplayer side events at stores and larger tournaments, exploration of new multiplayer formats, and potential multiplayer focused products. They see multiplayer as a gateway for casual players, friend groups, and new TCG players. So what's really good about this is that 1v1 isn't going to be the end game. Multiplayer is also part of Riftbound's DNA. The next question is why are regional qualifiers capped? Dave then explains this is about event quality, not gatekeeping. Uncapped events create problems, too many rounds, judge shortages, and poor player experience. They're working to raise caps, improve logistics, and explore third-party tournaments tied to Premier play. The next question is how will Riftbound compete with other TCGs? Changren points out to 3 main advantages, which is number 1 was competitive focus, explaining Riot understands competitive ecosystems deeply, communication, they want players to involve in shaping the game, and number 3, which is Riot's ecosystem, explaining champions, mechanics, and lessons learned from League of Legends, Valorant, and TFT all feed into Riftbound. The next question is what about best of cards? Best of cards will rotate out after 3 sets. Origins and Proving Grounds best of stop being prized after Vendetta. They remain legal for play. This keeps them special, limited, and desirable. Next question is what are designers working on right now? Dave then says this year's set's already finished. Work has already started on 2027 and beyond. They are also designing collectible products, rule improvements, and multiplayer and organized play formats. The next question is digital Riftbound coming? They go by saying nothing is confirmed, but also it's not ruled out. They do recognize the digital benefits, which are tutorials, accessibility, and rules clarity. But what they don't want to lose is in-person play and social interaction. And I do have to agree with that because allowing players to engage with one another directly and also just sitting around a table, shuffling cards, and engaging conversation creates a unique social atmosphere. Card games offer a shared experience, which honestly just brings people together. Like, think about it, like if we're going off of examples, not even just Riftbound, but One Piece, Dragon Ball, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, whether it's gathering with friends or for a casual game night or participating in organized tournaments, card games provide a platform for socializing and building relationships, and I can agree with that. For the next question is, do you have any updates on the global release syncing between China and the US? Chengren says, yes, we are planning on syncing the release when Set 4 Vendetta launches. A lot of players have already guessed, accurately I might add, that we are spacing the Chinese sets out at a 4-month cadence while keeping the English sets at 3 months. This approach allowed both regions to naturally align with the launch of Set 4. Going forward, future languages will release at an accelerated pace so they can catch up as quickly as possible. This is going to be a massive milestone because once Set 4 drops, players across regions will finally be able to play on the same timeline, meaning a unified meta, and no more waiting for months to see cards released in your language. This is huge for competitive play and the overall global community. For our last question, it says, are there more products like Proving Grounds coming? Trent goes by saying, yes, we've already kicked off the reprint process for Proving Grounds and we'll be sharing more news on that soon. The team has also learned important lessons from this product since it was designed as a learn-to-play introductory experience. One key takeaway that future fans will be excited about are future versions will not include mechanically unique cards. This is honestly one of the best changes that they can actually make because introductory products should help new players learn the game, not lock exclusive mechanics behind limited products. And by removing mechanically unique cards, it makes the game more accessible, fair, and easier to collect for everybody. And with Proving Grounds getting a reprint already in motion, it looks like they're committed to making sure new players can actually get their hands on it. And that's everything for Riftbound's first state of game. Whether you agree with it or not, the big takeaway is that Riot is listening, and that's very huge for a new TCG. If this video helped you out, hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment down below what excites you most about Riftbound's future. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.